3, 2, 1.
Packers Minute here.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
Yeah, one job. It's a giant
Hit the
button
goddamn
that turns
record
red
button.
when you push it.
See, I'm all thrown off today because Ginger Stick is not, he's here, but he's not sharing his Ginger Stick.
Not in the shot.
It's not in the shot. We can't officially start until the Ginger Stick is in the shot.
What do you think? You think that was about a half hour?
Probably.
It said 15 minutes on my watch. We missed
Okay.
15 minutes.
Not
that's
bad.
Not,
Not
That's
too
not bad.
that's not as bad as I thought. But, so for the second week in
That
5
was
weeks.
such good
content.
podcastiness.
Of course,
And just wrecked.
we'll never get it back.
And Adam sang that song that made us cry. And
Yeah, that
I
was
mean, I don't know if it
amazing.
was the song or the dance that got me, but like,
It was.
They'll never know.
they'll never
now.
be able to do it again.
No,
that was
absolutely
at a
not.
time and a
Let's
place.
You
Let's
couldn't
just-
get me to do it again.
Let's just jump right into the Packers Minute because, for fuck's sake, we lost the first 10 minutes. But anyway, so Packers Minute. Let's go quickly. They just had their first preseason game.
Yep.
General thoughts for you, first preseason game. What do you think? Knowing it's preseason.
Yeah, I thought they looked pretty good. I think there's a decent chance we're going to have a defense this year, which historically bodes well for the team. And then we talked about Tunyon is out there without a brace on the
Knee
practice field
brace.
running around. I like that. I think he's going to be an important part of the team going forward. I like him a lot. And then we talked about
Elton Jenkins is
Elton
also
Jenkins chucking dudes
practicing.
around. We like that. And Jordan Love needs to figure out them turnovers. We like him. We think to a degree a quarterback can't truly come into their own until they are like the guy. But we think it's going to be tricky to find anyone to make him the guy until he can get a handle on the fact that he's around a lot of turnovers.
He has been surrounded by turnovers most of his career, college and in pros so far. If he can right that ship, and players do, but turnovers are what sink or swim every quarterback. So that will be
Right.
his biggest challenge to overcome, because that was the knock on him when
Yes.
he got drafted.
Because we talked about, too, there are a lot of, I would say there are a lot of successful quarterbacks
Yes.
that are not successful because of necessarily their abilities or their greatness,
Yep.
but because of ball security. You know, they say, you hear McAfee say a lot that the ball is the program. You know, ball
Yeah.
security is job
is.
security. You
It
know,
is, 100%.
And you see these guys, we mentioned Kirk Cousins, who's not a bad quarterback, but the knock against him is he's like a game manager. But those guys can get you to the show
Yep.
if the rest of the team is there. If you have Jimmy
Yeah.
G is another, I think, really good example of like
Yep.
his highlight reel is not overly impressive, but anybody that knows kind of knows
Runs the offense.
he ain't a bad guy to have
He
at
runs
the
the
head of
offense.
your huddle.
Yep, he runs the offense. And if you have a good defense, if you can get a top 10 defense and the special teams that won't lose you ball games, which is not, it's a very low bar, and you can not turn
One
the
would
ball
think.
over, and you can run the offense, you always have a shot in the NFL. I will say one thing. I want to give a quick shout out to the first week of Hard Knocks on HBO with the Lions.
I heard it was phenomenal. I'm going
It was
to be watching
excellent.
it because we have
It was
HBO. I haven't
excellent.
watched it yet.
It was excellent. And it also makes me miss Jamaal Williams.
Oh, I have never stopped missing that man.
He's
With-
so funny, and he's the heart of that team.
He
There's
is,
no
and his
There's no doubt.
his vibe is just good.
doubt. Ball of energy, nice
Yeah.
guy, just wants everybody to win.
I did see a clip of him from Hard Knocks where he's crying,
Yeah.
and talking about last year, like how that ain't it, and that's not what he's going to accept from this team. It's not what he wants from this team. I heard that Dan Campbell cried 4 times in the episode.
I think something like that. Yeah.
This is the first time I'm gonna be watching Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
It's tricky because they're in division, but like, it would be so good for the city of Detroit
Yeah.
to have a franchise going. And
Yep.
you know, competition is good. And Detroit, the Lions are just this team that like you can never quite figure out why they're so bad. Because on paper, like they have the parts and the guys, and now I think they have the coach. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised if not this year. I mean, even like diehard Lions fans are saying, you know, they're going to go,
They should be better. Yeah.
you know, 10-7 or
Yeah. I
8-9
think
or something.
they're
But
gonna
in
be
the
a
coming
tough-
years, they'll be good.
they'll be a tough tough game all year. They'll be a tough opponent for everybody.
Yeah.
I will say Matt Millen is the reason why they sucked for a long time when he was the general manager.
Matt Patricia didn't do him a ton of favors.
Well,
either.
as a head coach, yeah, he was not a great head coach.
Oof.
He's a better coordinator. But Packers-wise, I do think I'm excited to watch a lot of these young guys in preseason try to carve themselves out. I think a couple undrafted guys. I think Goodson did a great job at running back. I think he's probably got the top spot or the number 3 spot if he keeps playing like that. I also liked Danny Davis from Wisconsin, who apparently is having an excellent camp and then made a heck of a play on that catch and run touchdown. That was impressive. And he's just a ball of energy, and I love him because he's a Badger. And honestly, Amari Rodgers looked real good.
Yeah.
He looked quick.
He looked faster.
He looked way different than he did last year.
I think
the minimum
I probably
want
get the
that we saw him.
measurements wrong, but I think he said he was 218 or 220 when he came in last year, and now he's down to like 202 or
Yeah, he slimmed
but he
down a
lost
bit.
like 17, 18 pounds.
Yep.
He looked like he did in Clemson.
202's small.
It is, but he's 5'8".
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying like I think I just saw that like I think Aaron Rodgers is like 230.
Yeah.
So 202 is lean, which is good if you know if we're aiming for speed.
He is what is he? 7 inches shorter than me, but he weighs the same as me. That's Amari Rodgers. I'm 200 pounds. I'm 6'3", and he's 5'8", 200 pounds.
Oh wow,
That's crazy. He's a bowling ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even Tunyon in some of those videos, granted, maybe I'm just forgetting, but he looked a little bit just slimmer and quicker. And
Yeah. Well, you almost wonder part of that too, if maybe because of his ACL rehab, he couldn't lift as much.
Yeah.
But still,
it didn't look like he's not in good shape.
Yeah.
He just looked a little
and
bit
better
trimmed
that
down.
than what I was gonna say is like I've heard more stories this year than any other year from other teams of guys showing up to camp so out of shape. Like all of them in better shape than me. I'm not judging anybody, but like who's I think the running back in Tampa Bay.
Leonard Fournette?
Yeah. They were talking about like possibly being able to void money out of his contract because he showed up like 30 pounds, not like stronger, but just like overweight.
Yep.
well, I think it's tough for some of these running backs that have so much success in college because they're big, and then managing that in the NFL. I mean, look at Eddie Lacy.
Yeah.
He came in and had 2-3 really, really good seasons.
Phenomenal season.
But he started to get really big towards the end, and he just didn't have that speed. But and I think he signed with the Seahawks and then just kind of faded out a little bit. But he just couldn't keep his weight in line.
That was a shame. He was another one.
He was good.
I
He
liked
could have
him.
Yeah.
Could have been one of the best Packer running backs of all time if you would have been able to stick around. But
Speaking
didn't
of,
work.
do you remember Jamaal Williams? I think last year before the Packer game, they interviewed him, and he was talking about, I didn't want to leave Green Bay, but I found someone new. He bought me some nice dinners.
Yeah.
I just love it. It sucks that they're in division because like I tend to root for the Packers, and then my like sort of secondary team is the Broncos because I was a kid in Colorado and that kind of thing.
Yep.
I would love to root for the Lions, just like as the underdog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Everybody
if they
loves
were in a
rooting for
different
underdog.
division, or
They're like the one team in the North that I don't hold a lot against. Nothing like the Bears or the Vikings.
No.
There's just not that same attitude towards
As I've
them.
said before, I love diehard Bear fans because they're super pessimistic, and they're super real about being angry about their Bears, and they're smart football fans, so they're usually right in their gripes about the Bears. Vikings fans are fucking stupid. They're fucking stupid at life, they're stupid at football, and they're stupid fans. They're one of their top moments in history is them injuring Aaron Rodgers' collarbone. If that's all you have, shut the fuck up.
That's gross. Even the guy that did it apologized to him afterwards.
Yeah, he did.
And the
yet
stupid fan base is like,
they still share clips of that as like one of the top moments in Vikings history is injuring Aaron Rodgers because they have fucking
That's all they
nothing
have.
else.
They had
They have
That
nothing
trophy
else.
case is fucking empty.
Did you see the Bills got Von Miller?
Yeah.
They were already like their defense is getting like scary good.
Bills are tough.
They
Those
have
are
a
gonna be-
pair of safeties that just like ugh.
Yeah, including a former Packer. Including one of my favorite former Packers, Mike Hyde.
Yep.
And Josh Allen is just like I never thought I would see the day where like, yeah, you heard about the Bills, man?
Right?
Jeez
It
Louise.
feels really weird. It feels
Yeah.
strange.
They're
But
going
it
to be
also goes back to that Detroit conversation. Like
I root for the Bills fans.
in 2 years, the Bildos.
I feel a lot like a
See
Bills
the
fan.
Bildos?
The way the Packers just go to NFC Championship games and shit on their face. You know, like
Every time the
4
Packers go to
straight
championship
Super
game, I
Bowls.
feel like I'm getting thrown through a table.
Fuck.
But it goes to show you that, like, in the NFL, in 2 seasons, you can go from, like, sort of a joke of a team to, like,
Yep.
oh, my God.
If you have good quarterback play and good defense, and you've got a good coach, they turned it around pretty quick. There was some other Packers news that we talked about. It was the week of Mile
Yes.
about Sir Aaron Rodgers,
Ah, yes. He switched from coffee to tea.
a magical tea.
So, okay. And again, I did a breathtaking monologue on this.
That wasn't recorded.
Yeah.
And go.
So Aaron Rodgers did a 2.5-hour podcast wherein he revealed that he took a trip to Peru and he did ayahuasca, which is what do we call it? A psychedelic
Plant medicine.
plant-based medicine in tea form usually, that with the help of a guide for thousands of years, native people have been using this for a variety of things.
Yep.
And even now, like stateside, in the last 2 years, there has been a lot of scientific research into the use of psychedelics to treat anxiety and depression, and
PTSD.
and veterans are being cured of their PTSD.
Yep.
Again, with a combination of psychedelics and treatment and therapy and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So Aaron Rodgers does this 2.5-hour long podcast. I was intrigued by it, so I, in chunks over 3 days, watched the whole thing. Because when I'm interested in something and want to formulate
Watch
an
it.
opinion about it, I listen to it. This, of course, disqualifies me from being a sports reporter because the day of and the day after the release of the podcast, every sports talk show had people on it first admitting that they had not listened to the podcast and then doing a whole jag about what was said on the podcast. And it's just like, and what I was saying earlier is like, it's a perfect glimpse into this rush to have your opinion and this rush to be first, because all the money is generated via clicks and all the clicks have to come from being first. This is present in all news media, and it was breathtaking to, for maybe the first time, see all of them admit, like, well, I haven't listened to the podcast, but this is ridiculous, and this is blah, 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 blah. And like
Drugs.
right. And whether or not, regardless of your opinion on ayahuasca or psychedelics or drugs or Aaron Rodgers or football or anything, we should all be of the shared opinion that, like, the people making their living disseminating news should know that news before they try to spread it.
Yeah.
There's a prevalent thing in culture that, like, you either have to agree with someone all the time or never. And Aaron Rodgers is someone that I would say maybe like an 80-20 split. I like a lot of what he has to say. And I'll be the first to, when he does something naughty, like, again, I said the immunized thing was greasy and slippery, and you lied and you got caught, and take your medicine. It's man time. That's what I say to Ollie. It's man time. But so much of what he said on the podcast was, I thought, really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
And they also repeatedly said, this is not for everybody. We're not saying everybody should run out and do it. We would never recommend it to kids or certain people of whatever, you know. And I was saying that, like, you can't help but empathize with some of his frustrations about the media when, like, he takes the time to do a 2.5-hour talk, and all the people reporting on it are admitting that not only they have not listened to it, but here is their opinion. And Colin Cowherd compared thousands of years of tradition in First Nations communities to getting blitzed on 8 rum and cokes because he's a cow turd.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well, and part of this too is Aaron Rodgers loves him some Aaron Rodgers. So he likes to be in the public eye. He likes to do.
I think so too.
So whether he admits it or not, and that's fine. But I do think that
He's
he
a
genuinely
look,
feels,
don't look kind of guy.
Look, don't look at me. Tell me how good I look, but don't look at me.
my towel.
Oh, don't look at me, but look at me. So he's got some of that, but at the same time, I can appreciate that he tries to use his platform for good and for awareness of things, and trying to get more information out that he thinks is important to people. This being one of those topics, and the thing that bugs me the most is along the same lines of what you said. People immediately start assuming that it's just like any other Schedule 1 drug, which is a total joke that things are scheduled. Schedule 1, if anybody hasn't heard, means no medical benefit. So marijuana is on there, which is absolutely silly because we all know that that's a medicine. Clearly, it's silly that it's Schedule 1. But DMT, the active ingredient in ayahuasca, is also considered Schedule 1 and is federally illegal. But it couldn't be any more different than heroin or PCP and all these other people comparing them as if they're the same thing, which is absolutely not. DMT, the active ingredient, is already in your brain. Everybody has it in their brain. It is not heroin. It is not PCP. It's non-addictive. It is 100% conducted by people who know what they're doing. They have been using it for thousands of years. There's absolutely mental health benefits to it. I can attest to that for sure, having done it and done my research and gone through that whole process and the preparation that goes into it.
Did you like it more or less than heroin?
Never done heroin.
But they're the same.
Hey.
The government
But
told me
I'll
they're
try
the
heroin.
same.
I'll try heroin. And
I think
fruit
that's what the
medicine.
government's saying. Like,
The
if you
government
smoke
is saying
pot, you
that.
might as well also do some heroin.
It's absolutely silly. But the comparison is, again, I want to be the first to comment on this. And it's like, it's just, please at least look into things like that. It's more and more studies are coming out. I highly recommend watching the documentary series by Michael Pollan on Netflix, How to Change Your Mind. Definitely check it out. Each episode is about different psychedelics and mental health treatments. It will talk a little bit about first-person examples. People will talk through experiences. End of life is a huge thing for people now who get terminal cancer and terminal illnesses to help their quality of life towards the end. There's a number of benefits. I'm going to make a prediction. I think, and this is also in that documentary, Michael Pollan says this. He says in 5 years. I think it's probably more like closer to 8 to 10 years. But I think that DMT, psilocybin, and MDMA, the research is mounting so much that it does help mental health addictions, PTSD, that it will be either removed from Schedule 1 status into either Schedule 2 or something else where it does have a medical benefit, and it will be more regularly used in mental health treatments. It's already happening. Shout out to UW Madison right here in our backyard, who is one of a handful of universities that are specifically studying microdosing for psilocybin for depression, anxiety, and things of that nature. And they're having some really good successes. And let's hope that people continue the conversation and could be more aware that there's other things out there that can help mental health. And hopefully we can all be better.
It's important to acknowledge, just be honest with yourself. Like, if you are one of these people, these Colin Cowherd types, that just immediately hears drug and goes,
Bad.
A,
Drugs are bad.
you're a science denier. That's just a fact. Like, there are countless studies saying, like, it's at the very least, it's worth looking into, and we've had certain results that we're pretty excited by. So, A, you're being a science denier. And B, whether you like it or not, you are siding with or on the same side as traditionally very crooked, capitalist, money-hungry, corporate pharmaceutical companies that don't really give a shit about the people that they're putting their product into. I heard a comedian once say that pharmaceutical companies are a lot like teenage boys, where they're much more interested in getting inside you than worrying about being effective once they're in there. I should try to find out who that was so we can give him credit. Shit.
I'll add it on the top of the screen. Oh, that's pretty funny. But I guess moral of the story is maybe look into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
We got 2 MVP seasons out of the guy when he's done 2 ayahuasca sessions.
Stephen Colbert called
Shouldn't
him.
we all be doing it to get MVP performance out of ourselves?
I pointed out to Tori that I thought it was interesting that we're in an era, and I think this is a positive thing, where we're trying to be more respectful of other cultures and that kind of thing. And if you want to maybe... I'm saying a lot of people are not shitting on Aaron Rodgers. They're shitting on ayahuasca, which is to be shitting on a lot of native culture and that kind of thing. And weird look.
It is.
You know what I mean? Weird position to take, guys.
Yeah, just another way we can shit on things we don't understand.
There you go.
That's what we do. Anyway. Yeah. Anything else? Otherwise, we can move on to the local minute. First off, Adam, you ate at Eleanor.
I did.
Thoughts?
It's amazing. I didn't have, obviously didn't, there wasn't a huge spread from what was there because it was an event for my wife's school. So they had a couple of pizzas and cheese and meat trays and stuff. But the brisket and corn pizza was out of this world. Good.
Corn on a pizza is the best thing in the world. And America is the only country that doesn't fuck with it. And it's dumb. It's so good. Sweet corn on a pizza.
It's amazing. That's the first time I've ever had it. I didn't know it could be a pizza
corn
topping.
on a pizza.
There's a winery that I play at pretty regularly in Ripon called Vines and Rushes. And they have a pizza called Pig in a Maze. And it's bacon or Canadian bacon or something and sweet corn on a wood-fired pizza. And everyone I tell about it, they go, it's phenomenal.
I bet it's good. Is
And
it
then
barbecue sauce or?
I believe so. Some kind of, I don't know. But then you Google it and you find out, in Scotland, it's super common to put sweet corn on a pizza.
What was the sauce for?
It seemed like it was some sort of white sauce. I couldn't I couldn't put my finger on it.
That would be gross. It's a shared pizza, Adam. Here's Adam's. What kind of sauce is this?
Ripping off the cheese.
I don't think that's very good.
No, but I think, Zim, I think you shared it when you brought them up a bit ago, that everything is cooked in their wood-fired oven. And we briefly talked to the chef, just asking how do you do the brisket? And I think he said he smokes it off-site, so it had very, very minuscule smoke flavor, but it was just perfect. I would highly recommend getting that if you go there.
That's
very
good.
cool atmosphere, small place in a neighborhood which I'm not used to. Yeah, it's kind of it's a really cool area, really cool spot.
Excellent. How about you, sir? It sounded like you had an experience this week with some nacho cheese that was unfortunately used.
Dude.
Who puts well, I'll let you share.
This is my thing. Okay. Okay. I had 2 notable food experiences this weekend in the span of 12 hours. One positive, one horrendously negative, and I'll go negative first because it's how I was raised. So we go, and I'm not going to name the place because I like the place. It's really, really good. We go to this breakfast place, and I'm looking at the breakfast menu. And I'm going to keep saying that word because I was there for breakfast, at breakfast time, at the breakfast place, looking at the breakfast menu.
Breakfast.
And they have an omelet that has bacon and cheese sauce. And there's a variety of ways you can sauce up some cheese. And I was like, okay, I'll try that. It's nacho cheese. Movie theater nacho cheese.
Oh.
And it's a gallon of it.
Just swimming in it.
It became a soup. And I'm sitting here looking at it going why is this even, why do you even have nacho cheese here? You don't have nachos. Why at breakfast would I want goddamn nacho cheese? And also, nacho cheese is what it's called. It has a name, use the name, and cheese. I'll avoid it. Even good nachos don't have nacho cheese. And now, before I sound too highfalutin, here's my positive experience. Played at the state fair, and of course, had to get into some fair food.
Yeah?
As you do.
You have to.
I played at the LakeFront brewery tent.
Ooh.
Great people, great beers. Even
Great
their
food.
NA Really, really good. They
Yeah,
make the
the
River
River
West
West?
Stein
Oh,
really
that
good.
is a good one.
They had a foot-long cheese curd on a stick.
What?
Tremendous. But me and Oliver shared a hot dog that the bun was a glazed donut. And it was
Wow.
breathtaking. It's one of those things that you're like, I would be dead if it were possible to get this every day.
Like one of those quick trip, like GLAZER style ones?
Yeah. But like
shit.
a full, like a bun length.
So did they like custom make these donuts specifically for
like
these?
you look at it, it looks like a hot dog. And then you pick it up and it's sticky.
Oh.
Which normally would be very disturbing.
A sticky hot dog.
And then Tori got a hot dog with macaroni and cheese on it. And it was just so good.
LakeFront's got excellent food.
Yeah, and really nice people. And I got to play the show with SS Webb,
Oh.
who we like and I've been
Nice.
friends with. You know them even.
Yep.
We've been playing with them for 15 years. And it was a good time. Except they directed us to the wrong parking area. And we had to walk 3/4 of a mile
With
from the
some
car
gear?
to the stage with the gear.
fun.
On a hot day.
Unpleasant, but the donut made it worth it. And there was no nacho cheese all over it.
Oh my god.
I will. No, go ahead.
No, it's just, it's more of the same. Why? I was telling Tori, I was like, the only reason you'd put something on a menu is because you think people would like it or because people have asked.
So was
Neither
this
of those things can be the case with nacho cheese on eggs.
was this like a nice breakfast place or more like diner breakfast place?
There's a diner place, but like
Where was it?
I
Where
don't want to
was
say
it?
because it's there. It's a great, it's a great place. I like it a lot. You could make a claim that it was my fault for assuming that cheese sauce didn't mean
Need cheese
friggin'
soup.
nacho cheese, and that was the other thing. Like, first, okay, so first
The sheer amount of it.
the sheer amount of it. Then I was like, well, maybe I could just scrape it off. And because it's nacho cheese, like it all wants to stay together, so I was able to just like slide most of it off. But then I cut into the omelet, and of course,
There's more in there.
the injection molded even more. Fucking nacho.
This is awful.
It was disgusting. And you know, like I didn't send it back either. I just like, but like, I'm not a picky. I'm just like, why? Because this leads me to believe like people are waking up in the morning and going, nacho time.
That's all I got.
That nacho.
What did you say when they came by and asked, how's everybody's food?
I felt kind of bad because Tori said like, when they delivered that, the look on your face was so just like horrified and like, what the?
Oh.
I went on the internet and looked at the menu again because they take the menus away. And I was like, there's no way it said nacho cheese on the menu. And it didn't.
So that occupied a good chunk of your morning, it sounded like.
Yeah.
In part
Because-
of this podcast.
I'm also trying to figure out like, some people are joyously eating this in the morning.
I can't do it.
Just
Ugh.
fucking nacho.
Going back to hot dogs,
Yeah.
have you had Newski's hot dogs?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say those are the best goddamn hot dogs I've ever had.
I
Have
cannot
you been
eat
to Hot Dog Charlie's?
Yes, is that the guy with the bacon jam?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my
I
gosh.
cannot eat hot dogs since the Gravitron incident.
Uh-oh. I mean, we don't need to, but let's...
Okay.
What
delve.
happened?
So it was 1990.
You should say and, because it makes you sound older.
1990.
19 and 90 years.
1990. And it was the Fond du Lac County Fair.
Late 20th century.
And I thought,
This
this
has
is the
all the
year.
ingredients for barf already.
This is the year that I go on the Gravitron. I can do it. And boy, did I do it. But before I went on, of course, I was hungry. So I ate a hot dog and a big old cherry slushie. And I was on the Gravitron, and it went really well for a while. And then it did not go very well. And boy, it's good that I had that red snow cone before with the hot dog, because it really added a visual element to what had happened when I, of course, got sick about a half hour later. Because when I got off that thing, I was just like, something's not feeling right. Like I was just so, like, just dizzy from it. But never went on the Gravitron. Haven't eaten a hot dog since. I have had a snow cone, not a red one.
The Gravitron's something else. I don't. It's
That is an
it's a
interesting one.
strange
There's always a dude like rocking out in the middle of it.
Oh, he fucking loves it.
hardcore.
Well, and it doesn't, to me, I only went on it once. Since you can't see outside of anything, it just feels like you're being sucked in by a vacuum to the wall.
Yeah.
There's not really a feel like you're moving component to it.
I can't do rides.
I
'cause
definitely
get really,
can't do
really,
them
really
anymore.
dizzy. And
Gravitron
I don't
was-
do heights either.
Yeah. Gravitron was not a good. I mean, I would have definitely probably. I enjoyed being on there.
Did you?
No, I did. But when I got off, it's like I just immediately started to not feel great. So I at least waited until I was off of the ride in
Ever the
in a
gentleman.
general clearing area.
Imagine if you yacked in the Gravitron.
Oh my
on the
god,
Gravitron.
it would be a much more legendary story.
My
for
sister
sure.
threw up on a Ferris wheel once when it was paused at the top, and I was on the ground next to a guy, and the guy goes, "Oh, it's raining." And I was looking around like, it's not raining. And then,
Oh my god,
yeah, it was terrible.
I've got a good barf story.
We should start a new podcast.
So for a long time, I was definitely that Andy Bernard where if I catch a sniff of it or a smell of it, it is going to get me triggered and I'm going to really have a hard time. And it came pretty close when I was in the airport about 10 or so years ago, maybe a little bit more. And I was walking through security, and this family had just gotten through security after kind of a long line. And the mom just barfs all over the place. And I'm like, oh, and then the kid started throwing up. It wasn't quite Stand By Me, where they just keep puking, but it was the mom puking and the kid puke. And it was right by the TSA area, and he had to feel bad because it was on people's bags, and it was not great.
No.
You feel bad.
No.
You feel real bad.
The
It's not
worst
great.
thing about when people vomit is that 100% of the time, they don't just like pick a spot to barf. They always, inexplicably, try to like catch it and hold it. And, like, and that just makes it spray in like all directions. It's like putting your thumb over the hose. And
It's not going to go anywhere.
it's terrible.
One epic.
A lot of people have turned off this podcast.
Yes. One epic puke. I forget her name. It was third grade. She did a sneeze puke.
Could you see it all the way across the hall?
No, she was sitting in her seat and didn't want to get up. And then fucking all over trying to put her in. Doesn't work.
I will say though that post puke, it's just
Euphoria?
It's my least favorite thing to do in the world.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of it. I hate it, but the after feeling is just
Yep.
fantastic.
I don't want to be crass, but anytime something that needs to exit your body exits your body, it is a great like.
Yeah.
But that one is just like you feel like you use every muscle in your body. Like
Yeah.
I just feel exhausted.
It's like
Yeah.
the ayahuasca purge. You feel
There you
great
go.
after that. Any other local? We finished up Mile?
Yes, I have a local a shout out.
Okay.
The good people at Amano Prints. They make
Oh,
our
yeah.
shirts.
Oh, cool.
And they're based in Appleton. They're right sort of on the corner of Richmond and Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
And they're a great company and super mega helpful. And I realized that we were low on some sizes of shirt, so I emailed them. And all I said was, hey, I just realized that we're getting low on some of the shirts you printed for us. I'd like to reorder some. They emailed me back like an hour and said, are you hoping to have these in time for Mile of Music? And I said, oh, yeah, if we could, that'd be great. I wasn't like aiming for that. And she goes, cool, we'll just get them started tonight then, and we won't charge you for the rush. And I just thought that was like the sweetest,
Yeah,
nicest
that's
thing in the
awesome.
world. And we got hand-printed shirts in under a week. We got to support a local company that I think is staffed entirely by women as well.
Awesome.
And they do great work, and they're super affordable. And like I said, it's local, and you can just drive and pick it up and that kind of thing, and really, really nice. And we've never had a single complaint about like the quality.
No.
You know, sometimes you buy a band T-shirt and you sort of get the impression that like they know they're going to be out of town before it falls apart on you.
Yeah.
And we always have really, really nice shirts, and I've been working
Yeah.
with them for a while now. Like them a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I was going to say, shout out to the Mile Music crew,
Yep.
Andy and Thompson,
Yep.
for organizing an excellent Mile of Music.
Yep.
It was a bummer that some stuff got rained or stormed out, because that storm was no joke on that Saturday night, and so we didn't have our Sunday show. But
Upside, though.
upside,
The show that got canceled was in the Courtyard, and
we have
playing in the Courtyard.
show on the 24th.
Yes.
Next Wednesday, which this will be out this week, so it'll be next Wednesday, the 24th. And then another show update, the 25th, we were in Green Bay with Laura Jane Grace
From Against Me.
from Against Me. We are
Who I
opening
love.
that show. We are super stoked, but it
We're
will
playing second on that show.
awesome.
Walt
And
is playing as well.
Walt is also playing. There are tickets.
Yes.
I don't know how many, but
Get
I
'em.
would guess it's going to be probably tough to get eventually. So you
You
might
gotta
want to
get those
go
tickets.
get those tickets. Go to Badger State Brewing's website. They will have a link. You can buy the tickets to that show.
Against
Should
Me
be
is a
awesome.
legendary band. They're a very important band to me personally.
Yes.
I've been a fan of theirs for some 2 decades now. And
2 decades.
I'm very, 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 very excited.
Yes, I'm super pumped. Super pumped for that. I would also say, was there any bands that you were able to see at Mile that you were like, oh, didn't, because we mentioned some last week, and I got to see a couple of those, but were there any new ones that you were like, oh, I never saw them or heard of them?
That I had not heard of. I don't think so. There were a lot of bands that did really good shows. There was one band, and there was a band that I saw play, and I was impressed. And then immediately after their set, they engaged in some behavior that leaves me disinclined to promote them.
Oh. Can you describe the behavior, not the band?
One of them took their dick out and peed on the side of a building in the town that I live in,
Fantastic.
about 5 feet away from my teenage son, and I think it's important to mention, maybe 20 feet away from a goddamn toilet. Walk your rock and roll ass over to the toilet and put your pee-pee in the toilet like a grown-up does. People live here, you piece of shit.
I would say
But
Adam was,
as he was walking back past me, I just went, sweet dick.
You said that?
I want him to know that I know what he did. Anyways, you were saying?
Adam, did you see any bands that you were...
I only got out to a couple of shows, but I saw formerly yellow-bellied Sapsuckers, now the Sapsuckers with a full band. This
Oh,
was the
cool.
first time seeing them with a full band. They
That's
were
fun.
very, very good.
Yeah.
And their
That's
guitar player was fantastic.
Oh.
They were awesome full band.
Yeah.
I thought of one. I saw Gabe Lee,
Oh,
who I had been hearing about but had not heard. Super good. Bought his
Oh,
record.
that's
Really, really
awesome.
good.
that's awesome. Yeah, I think the first time I got to see an extended amount of them Coulee Boys was good. I liked that.
Yeah, they're good.
I
They're
saw
friends of ours.
Radkey for a little bit, 3-piece rock band. They were pretty good.
I heard some mixed reviews.
I can
I've
see-
never heard the band or seen them live, so I have no. But they just got off tour with the Foo Fighters,
Yeah.
and I think not even negative reviews. Some people just said they were sort of underwhelmed, and I think that could be because it was late in the weekend, or because expectations were so very high. But I'm glad to hear you liked them.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see how they maybe didn't translate well to some of the other things that Mile typically goes for. So like, but I don't necessarily like. It's a 3-piece. There was more punk elements to things than I think people are probably used to.
Yuck.
Get that damn punk out of my Mile of Music, said that
Ew.
lady. I think that's all for this week.
Boom.
I will get this thing edited as fast as I can.
Boom.
And we will see you next time. Bye.
3, 2, 1.